So we come back here looking into Game 2 of Rogue Warriors versus LGD. There's one question on my mind, and is that, will Rogue Warriors actually make this their first series win?
Oh, well, it's got to be a first series win for one of these teams.
Yeah.
Both LGD and Rogue Warriors are trying to just scrounge out something to fight for it. So I think Rogue Warriors are certainly looking better. I think they're immediately the composition that they had was just hit the strengths that a lot of the players had. Jiaoyun's like, all right, just give me the Kled. I don't care where it's picked. Immediately have the option, he went for it. And then ultimately they knew they were a front-to-back team fight squad, that's what they looked the best on. And I'm already happy with what Xiao Yao has come out with. So immediately top lane, jungle, and mid lane, all big plus in this series. And I think they haven't gotten this playtime at all in their previous. So this is a new look, and it's much better.
And it's definitely the best we've seen Rogue Warriors look. But LGD, yes. I don't think we can say the same, because that last game, there were a few squeaky wheels, I think, that need a little bit of grease. I think a lot of the problems came around the big objectives, came around plans that they couldn't anticipate, and came around Condi not being able to execute on the plan he'd set up for the team. Yeah,
and so I call it a lot of growing pains. Whenever you have a new squad come together, it always, few questions come out. Now, who's the shot caller? What is my role? And for me, I think that was really challenged with both Condi and Lies. Lies was on a carry top lane pick. Usually he's either on the Darius or just on a pure tank. You didn't have a tank. You have a carry. You have two fairly squishy carries in both your solo laners and as a jungler for Sejuani. So in a lot of the fights that you got to see, particularly one that came through the Dragon fight, this was just, first it looked really good for LGD. They had set it up and pushed Rogue Warriors up to this side. But why are you setting this fight? Why are you trying to challenge it front to back? And also on top of that, in a corridor where you're dealing with Killua Rakan, Kong Ming's, Lissandra, so easily able to push you back. And what the hell? Like, Kai'Sa has so much room to work with than just to push back, front back. I think right now, if you're LGD, you have two options. Either play it better, you can look at the VOD. You don't have a lot of time in the 7 minutes that you have in between game 1, game 2. So I would say number 2, which is making a lot more sense. Get yourself a much easier composition to work with, because there's definitely a lot to work with in terms of your communication back in scrims, back in practice. But for now, I want to see the top lane on the tank. I want to see a Sion or even an Urgot there for Lies. I think Lies works really well on those champions. Maybe even bring back his Darius. Why not? So you can make it easier for you, because currently the setup is there for LGD. It's just the execution when it comes to what my role in these team fights are. Those questions are not being answered.
And Lies, of course, will have to go against a pretty dangerous opponent there in Jiaoyun, who is your last game's MVP. Great performance there on that Kled, as we expected.
Second Kled game. This one an easier opponent. I know the last one going up against Duke the Shy. You're going up against Invictus Gaming is going to be hard. This time around, going up against an easier squad, LGD. And I felt like Jiaoyun really got the shine here. Not only was he in a tougher matchup, played it safe, also dealt with the 2v2's top side very easily. And then when it came down freeing Kled for these team fights, he was headstrong, and I think that he's going to be a shining light for Rogue Warriors.
And we were talking about the matchup between him and Lies, but we're actually not going to get to see that one, Raz. We've got a substitution coming in.
Oh, you got to tell me.
Yeah, Eris coming into the top lane instead of Lies. So how does that change the matchup all that much?
I heard the news about LGD when they brought on Eris. I don't know much about him. I think he was in the secondary or tertiary squad for LGD. They have quite a lot of people in the back, because he wasn't even playing on the LDL team, or at least maybe he renamed. That happens way too often. Funny enough, it is VP game, so he was on the LDL team. He just name changed. This is another investigation that I'm going to go for. If that's the case, then he's a carry player that he has for the team. A rather exceptional one. I watched at least a few of those games. So that's going to be interesting, because I think that's necessary. The biggest question mark I had for LGD was actually in the top lane talent. We talked about it at the top of the show, that Lies, when he was on TOP, wasn't good. He was actually the weaker point for that team. That when you bring in Lies, you're really looking at like 2 to 3 champions in that pool. So now you bring in a younger upstart. I want to see what he can do now that he's on the LPL stage.
Especially against Jiaoyun. Both of these are relatively unproven top laners. You know, we haven't seen either of them on the LPL stage before this.
Yep.
Now we're going to get to see Jiaoyun coming off one of the better games so far of his career in the LPL. Eris, unproven talent, like you said, looking to make a difference here, looking to make a dent in the LGD squad, change up the strategy.
I will say this. I like the fact that LGD is doing this, because in VP game that they do have some strong players. I'm pretty high on VP game's AD carry, but obviously they have Kramer, and in the past they had Y4 and Imp, so that you're never really going to see your AD carries come up. They do have great young talent down there in the depths of the organization. Now that they're finally starting to bring them up, you're seeing a new LGD more often. And now, even though they're still coming in with losses, this is definitely a better look than they had in the last year, for like quite easily. You're seeing better focus from the jungler in comparison to what they had with Amy. So I think the direction is definitely a positive one, but is one that you are seeing development from the squad. This is a developmental split for them. Maybe they'll come in hot at the end of the split as they usually do. But for now, it's not looking good. Maybe they can bring this to a third game in the series.
Well, especially with Condi, right? Because when you have these inexperienced players, the big thing about it is they usually don't have much direction. They don't know where to go. They don't know what they want to do. Sometimes they don't even know what they want to name themselves. So we see that a lot when they come up through the LPL. So having someone like Condi, that really experienced jungler, someone with so much experience and a absolutely brilliant player as well, who's now shot calling for them.
Yep.
This is going to be such a great development for them in terms of the environment, because if you're developing all on your own, like the Kahlua squad, that's for Rogue Warriors. It's just Kahlua. He's the one with the most experience. But when you have Condi and you have a little bit of experience scattered around the map, helps out a little bit.
Yeah, I want to expand that as well, because not only, you know, the world semifinalist in Condi that he brought in the IQ that he had when he was with WE. It's also UDJ, NPYL. There is experience on this LGD team, so bringing in newer players, it worked very well for Yuki. I thought that Yuki was a great success story in that regard. I had question marks when it was Yuki and Nanju initially. They chose Yuki because he had the talent, and Yuki has the confidence to perform. So LGD, you have young guns in that roster. I like the fact that you're starting to play with it now, and it looks like Hangzhou has a team that can compete. That's something I'm going to throw it out there, that they can compete. They're getting better as a squad with the new structure that they had that they didn't have before.
And we've been bringing this up repeatedly because this has been LGD's entire existence for the past few years, is they haven't really been able to say that. You know, they brought in a new coach last split, as you said, and they're starting to show development towards the end of that, and now they're keeping it going forward.
Yeah, so that's Aris, as you can already see, sitting down pretty comfortably. Also, you saw coming out of the tunnel, their coach and UDJ. I have a lot of plus and positives to say about UDJ. Not a lot of people know about him coming in from JD. When Coach Ohm went to JD, it was a big boom for them. That was a big plus, and it makes me sad that UDJ didn't get that opportunity to come right back, because you know you have Coach Ohm, he's going to be playing on the stage. But we got to see UDJ still be able to take a head coach position on the stage with LGD. Did a lot of great work when he was loaned in from JDG last split, so big pluses there.
Now, going into Champions League here, Rogue Warriors and LGD. LGD going to have now a carry top laner, going to have a lot more opportunity to make plays around the map, to challenge Jiayun, sorry. And again, the question is going to be for Rogue Warriors. Can they keep the bot lane? Can they keep the top lane intact in time for them to come online? Because last game we saw Zhang Wuji finally pop off. He finally had his game where he gets to be like, hey guys, I'm actually a pretty good AD carry. I promise. Watch this.
I mean, we got to see those highlights no matter what, right? We saw it in the previous week. The difference is that you already made a point of it. Are the other lanes starting to work? This is a completely different Rogue Warriors in the past, because people, I don't want to judge Rogue Warriors based off when they had Zhang Chao or Hua Tian. Because the last time we saw Hua Tian on stage, it wasn't pretty. He was playing Yasuo, constantly getting solo kills. Sure, you were going up against Rookie, but his team fights were fairly messy as well. I thought Hua Tian in his last few games was not good. I even said emphatically that he was actually the worst performing mid laner. So now bringing in Kong Min, who had high up initially, you're already seeing good stuff. Nice to see Coach Stake up there with the players that he has confidence in.
He's feeling it, getting ready for game number 2, going into pick ban. And I want to see a little bit more emphasis there on Kong Ming, because I think he was really a standout star that last game with the engages he was able to get.
Can actually still go back to that Lissandra, so it's not bad. If you're just looking at the bans alone, like nothing has changed. The 100% ban champion in Casio is still banned. 100% presence rate and Aatrox still getting out of here. So like those make sense that it's already gone. The Galio has been a champion that's actually been lent to other teams in the past, so that doesn't have a clean like 100% presence rate. But if you are LGD going up against Rogue Warriors, you know that Rogue Warriors want to team fight, want to front to back. Taking away Galio is a very smart thing to do.
On the other side, though, Rogue Warriors were apparently very unhappy with that last game despite winning it, banning out both the Aurelia and the Akali. I guess they just weren't a fan of how effective Lies and Yuki were at disrupting their plan.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going into the game initially, you wanted to take away, if I'm coming into it, I wanted to take away the Aurelia to start with. They're on blue side. Makes sense now that they're saying, okay, now we have the free picks, we're just going to take Aurelia out. Yuki now gets challenged a little bit more in what he can play. He has a few good picks for him. I think Orianna's a fine one. Anything that can really deal with what's a bruiser mage in the Lissandra. I'm surprised that Lissandra wasn't picked up by LGD, but now it's going to be a pretty weird, like, if I'm LGD, I'm worried. Because these three champions, I don't want to really deal with.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of Jarvan coming in recently, but it looks like it'll be the Olaf instead. So they're still going for that good engage there. Olaf, of course, with the ultimate, with the Qs, can chase anyone down. And you have a lot of lockdown. You have a lot of just damage coming out of the solo lanes on the top side of the map.
Yeah, the Lissandra and the Urgot. Urgot has been first pick priority for any real team that gets their hands on it. So Zhao Yun is able to really just have that much impact. Great laning phase a lot of the times. And then when you're in team fight, just go for your fear beyond death. I love that Urgot pick. We've been seeing a lot of Olaf recently. Love to see it. So he has a lot of early game focus. I wonder if his build is going to be similar to what we saw from Griffin. You know, usually you don't get to see a lot of redemption Olafs, but maybe you get to see it this game around. But what it does show is good early game push from both his solo laners. So you're going to see Xiao Diao actually get into Kandi's jungle a little bit on top side.
And now we're seeing LGD focus out in the bottom lane there for Rogue Warriors. Mirror of what we saw in the drafts last game. You know, they haven't picked up an AD carry, haven't picked up a support, most likely. So LGD just keeping the focus there, banning out the Xayah, banning out the Rakan.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised that there's no Alistar ban here. If I'm Rogue Warriors, at this point, you know that the Kai'Sa is there. Alistar is still available, above 55% win rate, in solo queue and in competitive for the LPL. So if I'm Rogue Warriors, take it away here. It's too much engage, and there's a good snowball factor here. There we go.
Well, now they can still pick up the Ezreal. On top of that, give themselves a good AD carry. And it did decently into Kai'Sa last game as well, scaled up pretty well. But yeah. Kramer looking for a response there as support. Top lane still available.
Ooh, lock it in if you can. There we go.
Oh, baby.
Eris on Fiora. We're talking about the fact that he can play carries and he's a confident one. I want to see, because it always comes down to nerves. Last time I saw Rogue Warriors throw in Holder, another inexperienced top laner that was supposed to carry. When it came to the playoff time, where pressure was ramping up, he didn't perform. And I want to see if Eris can do that. If that's the case, the one weakness that I had laid out for LGD is wiped out. And they have good players across the board in Kramer, Yuki, and Eris. I want to see if he can do it with this Fiora Blood.
Rogue Warriors now picking up the Thresh, going to give them good engage, good disengage. He's just an all-around pretty solid support there, Raz. And of course, the Ezreal, one of the strongest AD carries available in the current patch.
I mean, Killua's Thresh is something you have to fear, though. Because Killua already talked up his Rakan, his Alistar, but his Thresh is something he's made known when he was in Young Miracles, coming up alongside with a lot of the great AD carries. And then so now, he picks up his Thresh alongside Zhongwuji's Caitlyn. That is just lane domination if I've ever seen it.
Swapping it up at the last second there, they're going to be able to get a lot of push down. It looks like LGD want to counter a little bit of the domination, get the Morgana.
I kind of mentioned it, spamming it on solo queue at the beginning. Artie had been playing Morgana, Janna. So, like, he's been trying to actually focus on the laning phase strength as well. So the fact that he's got his Morgana here, it's going to be easier to play around the Thresh. Maybe have a good way to counter engage on that if Kandi is prepared.
And it'll help with disengage in general for Kramer on that Kai'Sa. Of course, when you have an AD carry who's so strong with damage but incredibly squishy, having the CC immunity from the Black Shield is so helpful, and especially against the heavy engage composition of Rogue Warriors with so much potential to just run Kramer down. Black Shield's going to do a lot.
You already made a point of it because I was talking about the Thresh hook, but you're right. In team fights, if that Morgana's Black Shield can actually get key moments where you'd expect the Lissandra to be able to get a clean ultimate in the AD carry. That's the definition of just, that's the definition of sick. Like that kind of takes your Morgana and puts you on another level. So I want to see if he can actually get that. Not only just the shove in lane or laning phase protection, but also those clutch moments in team fights that can really make it for RD, who's trying to come up as a support.
A lot of pressure on his shoulders. His first competitive match in the LPL, his first match as a support in a long time. And he's looking to impress here with this Morgana, but this composition from LGD, I'm still shook a little bit about the Fiora, Raz.
Yes, I mean, the last time we saw Fiora get picked up in the LPL, not too long ago, Alit, right? You get to see young gun Chinese top laners that come up and really just surprise a lot of people. There was a lot of hype backing Alit, OMG top laner, we'll be seeing later today. I didn't see that much hope, or at least hype for Eris, because he's kind of quiet. He's been playing it out in the LDL apparently, and I want to see if Eris can do it for this team, giving them top lane focus, because if you're LGD, if you've seen this pick in the past, it was off of Jinnu. Maybe you get that second carry back up.
Zhao Yun and Eris, both contenders here for the carries of their respective teams, but now we're coming into game number 2 between Rogue Warriors and LGD. Honestly, Raz, I'm jealous of the longevity of the throat on that Rogue Warriors guy, because he is shouting over everyone, and he sounds just fine.
Yeah, the passion is definitely there. Reminds me of the JD manager who shouts every time, but I don't think anyone can meet that JD guy's voice. Can't meet his vocals. This guy's trying his hardest.
The close second place, which is probably what they're aiming for as their high goal here in the league. But topside starts from both junglers and a solo start from Xiaoyao on the Olaf.
Starting off on the top side, it's a bit of a surprise. Would have expected the Olaf to start bot side for a full clear on Krugs and Raptors and look for pace. Might mean something different here. If he's going for blue buff, you'd maybe get... This is actually really interesting. Go Wolf... Okay.
Oh. Condi expects that too. He expected the blue buff to still be here. He expected them to start the bottom side, so maybe this is just some crazy mind games from Xiaoyao.
If he just does double buff, like as in blue buff, red buff, and tries to do Raptors here, just to try and mix up Condi, because I'm presently mixed. Remember, if you're going Predator jungle, a lot of times you'd expect them to do a full clear bot side, base for boots, and then maybe go in for another gank up top when you have a clear on blue side. That's something you could do. But he's just trying to go for, at least get his blue buff so he doesn't try and go for, you know, mix and match. Because if in this situation, if he gone full clear on bot side red, and then if he went for an invade on blue, I would be worried because Yuki and RD and Kramer would have shove and could collapse on him.
It's really dangerous pathing potentially from Xiaoyao, but Condi not going to go all the way for the Wolves commit. But now Condi headed up towards the top lane. Zhao Yun none the wiser.
Such a weird passing, but this should be a pretty clean gank if I'm Condi. Just depends on what you're trying to get out of it. Seems like he wants more than just the flash.
Xiaoyao not going to be able to hit that first Q. Was looking for it though. An early game scrap.
Ooh.
Has to flash away from the Sleepy Trouble bubble.
Real close on that. Yeah, definitely Yuki was going to be there faster just based off his own Sleepy Trouble bubble. So able to push him out.
Now Condi going to capitalize. He's already cleared out the blue side of Xiaoyao and going to take his Raptors now. Got the advantage in the experience so far. But Xiaoyao wants to look for the gank top lane onto Eris. Zhao Yun gets the flip. Oh, Xiaoyao not having good luck with these undertows.
Yeah, but that was really lucky from Eris that he was able to find himself on the opposite side of Xiaoyao. He's trying to fight back into the lane because you have Condi here. But if you're LGD, this is a really weird setup to have Xiaoyao stay on top side. Look at this.
Condi's coming in, gets the stun onto Xiaoyao. Eris wants to follow up. He gets the riposte, gets the first blood for Condi. Eris still low, but Condi looking for the double. Flash with the red buff. Goodbye, Zhao Yun. Condi picking up the double kill.
Yeah, double kill for Condi just because he was able to stay topside and just wait for Xiaoyao and Zhao Yun to make a mistake. I think they were trying to get an early shove so Zhao Yun can back, but that was just really weird brute force push here from Xiaoyao. He wanted to stay up top side. So before it went his Krugs, goes to it now, but the fact that he tried so hard to get Zhao Yun ahead, even trying to shove it in completely in red, I mean, it just really put himself out there to dry. He didn't have flash because of the early skirmish, so now he's just behind on this one.
And I was really looking forward to his weird pathing working out, too. It's a shame, but he lost out in the mid skirmish. He lost out in the top lane skirmish, and now just his top lane and himself are set so far behind compared to Kandi.
Yeah, at least he's got his Krugs now, but big question is what he can actually get for himself. Top side is cleared. So if I'm, oh, wait a second.
Good hook from Killua. Black shield from RD will stop the flay, but Killua looks like he's getting the worst end of that trade. The heal from Kramer. This is really aggressive, but it's because Kandi's here. There it is. RD picking up the kill.
And a flash dark binding. That was sick from RD. At that point, look, Kandi probably still would have gotten his own stun, but that was just an assured stun kill from RD. Great lane advantage that now RD and Kramer have here.
Well, we said he wanted to prove himself, and it looks like he's doing just that. See that gank one more time.
So Killua put himself in an odd position because he thought he could follow up on this, but the black shield, what it was, is that keeps Kramer safe. They just go front to back and take a look at this. In between, Zhang Wuji is able to land the dark binding. Really well done.
And you don't lose with that play either if you're RD, because if by some miracle Killua flashes it in time, Zhang Wuji is the one who gets caught. Now, gank coming into the mid lane from Kandi and Yuki, and Kongming, barely alive, has to use the ultimate.
So close. They would have gotten the kill if Kandi had landed the stun. Just, you know, a rare mess up that Kandi has here. But Kongming cannot stay under this tower.
Xiaoyao going to have to cover for him. Might be able to get back a little bit of that experience he's lost from being set behind. But still, no luck influencing the map so far, whereas Kandi already picked up 2 kills, secured another one. He's really just making the moves this time that we didn't see him make last game.
Oh, might be able to even catch out Zhang Yu. There we go. Gonna have to go back. The most surprising thing is that Kandi's jungle proximity to both his top lane and bot lane actually just lands firmly at 6%. It's the lowest really in the league in terms of that, because Kandi does not pay attention to his side laners. Usually helps out Yuki or commands attention so his laners come and help him out so he can get jungle advantages, because he's actually pretty high up in terms of his red buff steal. You can already see he's stealing out blue buff. He tries to get experience advantage through camp steals, but this time around he just has his advantage purely off the gank that he was able to accrue on top and bot lane.
New team, new him, I suppose, but Kandi looking really good and looking for the gank once again on Zhao Yun. Yuki on the flank so that he's in redemption range. That's mean, but Rogue Warriors looking for a mean gank of their own. 4 versus 2 here in the bottom lane. Kramer gets ignited, flashed out, and he's going to be safe, but RD not as lucky.
Ooh, there we go. That was the top lane dive you were talking about too. Redemption could have went off. But the fact that those 2 dives went and Kramer was absolutely able to come out alive, I think works very well for LGD.
It's absolutely insane for them because they get so much pressure here in the top side. You want that Fiora to scale up. You want her to be able to split push and take over the game. You enabled that, and all you lost was your support and a little bit of pressure in the lane, which wasn't even going that well for the enemy team anyways. Yeah,
and I mean, if Kramer's able to still stay in lane farming, my issue is that Zhao Yun has been in the dumps for a little bit now. 8 minutes into the game, he's been a victim to both of these ganks. Right now, if he comes right back up, he's dealing with a Tiamat. Double AD item. You can just take a look at this. Pretty easy. I mean, I personally didn't even have to see the replay because you already called out the redemption point, and it's usually pretty clear to see how that would play out. The kill did go on towards Kandi, so he's much quicker to get to his warrior pace. So faster jungle item here, I would say that Kandi would be able to reach for himself. Some people would try and levy and give that gold back to Fiora, but honestly, once she gets level 6, already past that point, really already ahead in the matchup. She can wait for the wave to actually come in her favor, try and go for an ultimate all-in, and she doesn't really need the items there. Where I think right now Kandi, with all the gold in his pockets, can try and go mid, try and pay it back, pay it forward with another bottom lane fight.
Even if Aris did need the items, he's got the gold, 3 assists, he's up 20 CS, he's got the Tiamat, got 2 Doran's Blades, sitting pretty up here in the top lane.
Have to watch out for this.
RD wants another killer binding. He's looking for the highlight reel. Not going to be able to find it, but Kongming in the mid lane. Suffering a little bit. Trade back onto Yuki, and this... None of these lanes are going all that well for Rogue Warriors right now.
Yeah, losing out quite a bit. Really lucky there that Sleepy Trouble Bubble was just within that minion range, would have hit Kongming. A lot of these skill shots were so close to being able to push Kongming out of lane. To your point, it's not looking good for Rogue Warriors lanes just because of how impactful the Camille has been really early on. Because if I'm Xiao Yao, what do you really do? He's just been hard farming at this point because he hasn't had the ability to push out any vision. So if you take a look at where Condi's been able to levy that vision, 2 control wards here just on the entrance of the red buff area for Rogue Warriors. So you don't have any pressure suddenly if you're Xiao Yao. You can't play towards bottom lane. So Kongming has to be siding towards the left side, which leaves his bottom lane out to dry. And if you're Rogue Warriors, you need to protect Zhang Wuji and Killua.
Luckily, they still are up in CS, but as a Caitlyn lane against a Kai'Sa, it's not exactly surprising, I'd say. And without the requisite leads in the other lanes, like you're saying, if anyone decides to punish them, if anyone decides that they really want Zhang Wuji to be put down at any moment, Rogue Warriors don't have a response.
Yeah, because just remember the pace of this bottom lane has been, chipping down the turret, pushing out pretty frequently. Gotta get out of here.
Engage Ragnarok's there. Frozen tomb onto Kandi as well. They will get the shutdown. 600 gold over to Xiao Yao, and that will be enough for Rogue Warriors as they back off.
Yeah, didn't even need Killua there, but he was just there for insurance. The fact that they were able to push that run right back on Kandi is a major payoff. Great kill on towards Xiao Yao, so he's actually coming right back into the game. It was a 450 gold bounty that I think that was able to be picked up on Kandi.
Yep, picking up quite a bit of gold there, and now if he's able to get this as well, that means he'll have gotten both objectives on either side of the map, Dragon and the Herald, but it looks like Yuki really wants to contest this.
They should be able to push him up. Yeah, should be an easy push off. I'm just concerned for LGD there. The fact that their strongest member was going out there alone, I think is unfortunate. He'd been pretty comfortable with how the last 8 minutes had been playing out. He needs to be a little bit more in tune with the lane. I'd say mid lane is an easier one. If Kongming is being able to get pushed into his tower so freely, you can actually orchestrate a dive on mid lane as long as Zoe is able to get one Sleepy Trouble Bubble across. Usually laners going into the Zoe would pick up a cleanse to at least not lose to one of these trades. If you ever get picked up by one Sleepy Trouble Bubble, boom.
Oh.
Didn't even need it for that one.
Nope.
Wow.
There you go. Bye, Kongming.
Yuki styling, man. This is what we wanted to see out of him. Especially after the last loss. Left a bitter taste in his mouth.
Now Yuki on the rebound here. 1-0-1 on the Zoe, up 23 CS. He is having the time of his life. And Zhao, don't even look, man. You can't win these fights. Or maybe I'm wrong. He's getting low. He gets flipped. There's the ultimate. And goodbye, Eris. Zhao Yun, I'm so sorry for doubting you.
Yeah, you doubted the man. Sure, Eris had his ultimate, but the problem was that Zhao Yun had been staying and remaining right close to the wall, so it was actually really difficult for Eris to even get the passive proc. So it makes a lot of sense. Ooh, was able to get this.
Oh, whoa! The follow-up, the flash RD. Not long for this world. Killer Instinct could come out, but Kramer wants none of that. 2v3.
Remember, that was a lot of damage that Killua's Q was able to do on top of RD. So it actually eviscerated Morgana's magic shield. That's insane. So able to easily follow that up. Good pickup from Zhang Wuji to be able to follow up on top of the W that he gave him.
And I want to point out, too, look at Xiao Yao's scoreline now. He was up in CS before, but he was having a hell of a time in the early game getting anything. Kandi, as you can see, taking the Herald, is doing a whole lot better. But now, Xiao Yao, even in kills, up in gold. But if they lose this Rift Herald, it's not going to be good for him.
It's just these key plays that are really giving Rogue Warriors an edge. Because if it's slow, if you're really playing it through Kandi, then yeah, you're seeing Kandi give LGD like a slight gold lead. But it's being overturned every single time Rogue Warriors are able to stake out. The first kill on Kandi really did it to them. And then you also saw Morgana getting picked up on bot side. You thought PYL was the only one getting picked out. Not the case. So it's just really people not really playing as disciplined, playing together as a squad.
It's just the LGD curse. Someone at some point has to be constantly getting picked out in this game. The roulette landed on Kandi. First tower there in the bottom lane for Rogue Warriors. And yes, Kandi got the Herald, but he sacrificed a lot of pressure for it. They should be able to get this top tower, however.
All right. Freeing up Giving Eris the gold here would be a nice big pickup.
Condi doesn't seem fond of that idea, Raz.
I mean, it was a trade. I'm fine. I'm all right with that.
He's like, I need the gold. Come on, man. I'm supposed to carry. Now,
oh, no.
Kong Ming. Oh, no. This mid lane matchup is going to be the end of Rogue Warriors if they don't calm it down soon.
It's just rough. Zhangwuji and Killua were coming in there too. They were really close. There was actually no pressure for Kong Ming to ever stay under that tower there. So Kong Ming has just been really performing poorly in the second game here.
First game, the game previous, we were pretty impressed by him, but this one, he's not holding up his end of the bargain so much. Teleport still on cooldown. Like you said, no cleanse, so he can't really stop those engages unless he's already out of the lane before Zoe even looks for a kill.
Yeah, that's the risk a lot of times. You want to have the ability to put yourself on side lane, double teleport focus. You see Spellbook on Zhao Yun, but he has the ability to just swap right towards it. So, you know, direction towards the squad, yeah, have a double teleport. But for Kong Ming, not having his cleanse really puts him out there to dry. He had flash up, but it was actually just difficult. There was no wave incoming, so he couldn't even flash in protection there.
Now, Eris still doing just fine. Condi trying to keep the momentum lead up for his team, but I don't know if he's even going to be the person LGD want to play through right now. Yuki has so much command over this mid lane.
Yeah, you have to play through Yuki, especially with how he's just performing in the 1v1. I would say have him rotate a little bit more frequently towards the top lane, a little bit more. Give Eris more room to breathe. Doesn't really matter who it is. Right now you can see even Morgana. That'd be a good playmaking lane to go through. As long as you have him rotating and trying to put pressure on side lane, you're making the best out of Yuki. Because right now, Rogue Warrior's strategy is just to consistently push out this mid lane, and you need to find a way to counteract that. Shove out mid and look for a play.
Oh no! Rogue Warriors looking for a play of their own though. They're looking on to Kramer, not able to get it. The black shield from RD.
That's what I was talking about with RD. These are the clutch plays you're really judged on. Not just based off the laning phase, but how easy it is to get past Kong Ming's ultimate.
Now Kong Ming getting the roam and the engage shut down. Limping back towards mid lane with their tails between their legs. Rogue Warriors is just not getting the purchase they want. For a little bit, they were shutting down Condi. They turned him around, got the huge gold bounty off him. Things were looking up, but now LGD through the mid lane are able to get so much pressure, and Condi is using that time to get objectives to help his laners out. And Rogue Warriors, this might be their response.
Yeah, they should be able to get on top of him. Just really depends on LGD's side lane focus are. Let's go.
Good riposte there from Eris. Can he pull an Ala? Can he get the turn? He's just going to get out. The Grand Challenge pop. He flashes away, and he'll get to safety.
Added movement speed that he was able to get off of his ultimate, and of course, heals up as long as he could. Gets himself out of there. Well done from it, from the top laner of Ares.
Now Yuki going to be able to push down, get that tower down to half in short order. Rogue Warriors making a good play down in the bot lane. Weren't able to get the kill though. So all they did was relieve pressure. And Killua, Zhangwuji going to have to tank it. That's a bad sign.
Yeah, at least the minion wave was there as well. A lot of people that were just in line, waiting to defend Captain Killua.
LGD finally starting to play down through Yuki, looking to push down into the mid lane, get the second tower. It's going to be an easy pickup for them.
It's insane, really, how demanding this pressure is. Yuki not only just to be able to bully the 1v1 mid lane to get the outer turret, but then now more members from LGD are just playing through him, commanding the poke that he's already able to have. You even saw Kramer throw in his own W, just to see if he can get extra damage across. Rogue Warriors are really struggling in the mid lane.
And it's only going to get worse from here because now Eris hasn't been answered here in the bottom lane other than that one gank, which didn't even get the kill. Burn to flash? Fine. Burn the ultimate? Fine. But that's still a Fiora. She's still got the Ravenous Hydra. She's still got the crazy pushing power. And if you're sending everyone mid to try and deal with this runaway Zoe, you don't have anyone left to respond to the Fiora.
Especially since now that it's 19 minutes, just 1 minute away from the Baron buff. I know that they're putting the Fiora up top lane now, but eventually they would want to put Fiora bottom lane so that she can actually make use of her teleport pressure. If Xiao Yao ever tries to go for another play where he runs her down on bottom lane, not only is she going to likely get away from you, but there's a now response topside with Kai'Sa being able to burn down Baron.
dangerous game here for Rogue Warriors. They can't let any side of the map go unnoticed for too long, or suddenly it's broken wide open for LGD. Yuki clearing out the mid lane as they pick up their first dragon of the game. It's going to be a Cloud. Help them roam around a little bit more.
Yeah, but Nibiru, here's the thing. Do you trust LGD at this point in time?
Oh, God, no.
Because the playmaking that Rogue Warriors have when they are behind, or if they're in a tough position, they've been able to actually make it count. There were certain moments in IG that I really loved when they were going up against IG, that they found plays to come back into a game. And also in the game 1 that we had here, LGD had slow advantages being pushed onto their top lane, mid lane, and especially on Condi. But then there were those major plays that Rogue Warriors would be able to orchestrate. I currently do not see that happening. It really has to be off the back of Killua. We saw that at least once happening in the bottom lane when they picked out RD. That needs to happen a few more times. I think if they could make it on top of Yuki, who's been constantly pushing out in this mid lane, then that would be a great start.
And I really, really don't trust LGD. They've broken my heart many a time, Raz. But now, if they want to prove that they're a contender team, if they want to prove that they can win games, they need to be able to hold on to these leads. They need to be able to predict the problems that are going to come up, and they need to have responses. Last game, like you said, they weren't able to prove that. Rogue Warriors got so many plays that they weren't expecting and couldn't respond to that they just eventually lost the game.
Yeah, and I mean, you say contender team. For me, I want to talk about the fact that they are trying to aim to at least get into the playoffs. Haven't been in the playoffs in such a long time. A lot of that has been they've been trapped in the Eastern Conference, the much stronger conference for so long. There was never a hope for them to get out of that. Now, completely new structure. They are probably the biggest team, the team that benefits the most out of the change in system to a 16-team roster. So now that they have to deal with a 16-team, single round robin, they can also just perform well enough so they can perhaps even have that chance to make it to the playoffs. I think LGD are not only making structural choices within the team that's benefiting them, but also just the format of the league is helping this team use.
It's going to give echoes of their past performances, because 2015 we saw something similar, but Eris going to be able to get the 1v1 here onto Zhao Yun until Kongming comes in. He's not able to get the kill. Zhao Yun with the ultimate might be able to pull it. There he goes. Goodbye.
He saw the Lissandra really early on and had used her post too early, I'd say. But he was actually really close to getting the 2v1 outplay, but he had put so much pressure on the map anyways that LGD is able to do this.
Oh, but now Kramer going in 1v3, but he's fine, still alive, finally gets taken out, but his team is engaged with him. Yuki gets caught out on the side there. Is Condi not able to pick up a kill, but they will take the tower.
All right, that's too committal there. I don't know what Kramer is doing. I like the W. I like all the damage they put on top of Zhang Wuji, but I would have liked them to back away there, layer more wards on towards the Baron buff, or at least try to make an attempt at it, because they'd actually gotten so much time in their favor because of Zhao Yun and Kongming looking bottom lane. So I think they just went too far for the fight, but at least they got the tower up.
And this is a manifestation of the growing pains you were talking about, this fight here.
So this was so much damage. I personally would not have wanted Kramer to go in on that, because now you're already saying, okay, 80 carries out. Zhang Wuji has to base. And you're seeing Zhao Yun and Kongming being slow to the punch. That's 3 members that would not have been there for a Baron to run. So that's the small details I would have really liked to see LGD work on. But ultimately, the fact that they're just looking for these plays is a testament to their skill as a player.
They haven't found the balance between old WE from Condi and old LGD from the old roster. They haven't found the balance between careful and chaotic. Yuki going to stay safe thanks to the black shield there. And a huge chunk of damage there onto Kongming.
I don't know what happened there. They definitely made the call to go on top of Yuki, but they called it off. I think they saw a few more people on Vision and saw that side lanes had been pushed out and weren't comfortable with it, but it was Kongming that said, nah, I can't follow through on this.
Now they have split pushers in the bottom and the top side as they keep pressure in the mid from Yuki, and Yuki got a little bit of pressure put onto him during that last fight, but no one was able to kill him, and RW really need to take him out if they want anything to happen with this game.
Yeah, just because, at least in terms of basics, they want mid lane pressure. And they do not have it because it's just Yuki constantly making these shoves happen. I said a little bit earlier that I really want Killua to actually look for the pick. That time around, it wasn't just Killua. They were looking for Kongming on the side. It's still available to them. Because right now, to be honest, this guy is just disrespecting you. Come on. He's alone.
They're not even looking for the flank there. Condi's there, even if they were. So Rogue Warriors just can't capitalize, or maybe are unwilling to go so aggressive just for Yuki.
I would say they're unwilling. There are literally 4 people here. And the AD carry Kramer would actually have some travel distance since he's on top lane wave. So the longer you wait, the worse it is for you, because there are waves piling in on both top lane and bottom lane. It's just unfortunate now they've lost that opportunity.
And look at bottom lane. You got a Fiora with Trinity Force and Ravenous Hydra completed. Split push machine has been built. They're just setting it up in the bot lane, and they said go. And now they're going to have to contend with Eris for the rest of the game, and LGD just going to start the Baron.
Yep, and if you ever try to stop him, take a look at Eris. Just no vision. There we go. That's a blue trinket.
We'll stop it. Like, potentially they just wanted to bait it and then turn if they were caught. So Eris will just take the dragon for free.
Wonder what the roll of the dice will give us. And it's going to be another Cloud Dragon. Why not?
Sure. That's not terribly impactful as compared to an Infernal, but it means at least for Rogue Warriors, they can let out a little bit of a sigh of relief.
Yeah, they can't just play it slowly. Remember, the primary focus that Rogue Warriors have now, not only to get these lanes shoved, I mean, they've kind of shied away from looking for plays on top of Yuki. Just get more resources on top of Jangwuji. He's in that bit of a power trough where he's trying to go for an Infinity Edge. Just take a look at his items. He is so close towards it, doesn't have it, and does not teamfight ready. He has changed his focus from what was initially siege on towers, because I'm a Caitlyn, and play around for pigs, hook from Thresh. I have my, my W if I can trap them. That's changed completely because you're playing to the tune of LGD, and LGD wants to fight. So it's just hard for Jangwuji until he gets his core items.
He's going to be looking for that for a little bit while longer still. And Yuki continuing to shove down the mid lane, continuing to be this thorn in Rogue Warriors' side. Rogue Warriors continue not to be able to do anything about it.
As long as they play it slowly. Right now, LGD have proven themselves to be a little bit more risk averse. When the blue trinket came down on towards the top side on Baron, they had pushed away from it completely. I think that would have been a great opportunity to just force a fight. You have Morgana, you have Sleepy Treble Bubble off of Yuki, even Condi. For God's sakes, you could have looked for the fight, but they didn't want to. They want to give more time to Eris on side lane. Take a look at Eris. That wave's been completely taken around, so actually should just be able to take this. They don't have enough information.
Spotted out that entire bait they were trying to set up for so long. The bush, such a waste of time, and now Eris just the bot lane tower for free.
This is huge for LGD. The fact that Rogue Warriors, had a swing and a miss on that play means that they have to respect this bot lane push. Eris can just completely move back, and you know what happens? Why doesn't LGD just start on Baron? You already have Kai'Sa in the area. There are pings coming down. It's mostly based off Rogue Warriors because they know they need players there.
Rogue Warriors this game, it's just a weird play from them. Not to say that last game wasn't full of its quirks on its own right, but it just seems like they're looking at a loaded grenade. The pin's been pulled. They're holding it in their hand. They're like, we should throw this at some point, but they still don't try.
Well, I would say that Rogue Warriors, it's not that they're making bad calls. I think these are good calls. Trying to look for a play, but you don't have the ability to because Yuki's just doing this. He's been bullying Kongmin on lane, and he gets the assassination on Jangwuji. It's player skill this game. It's not about the strategy.
And now the death timers are so long that push into the mid lane, mostly uncontested, push in the bot lane. Zhao Yun can't do anything.
No.
They're even pushing into the top, but Kongming got to get out of there if he can. The flash to secure it. And Yuki just wins the game off 2 paddle stars.
Zoe, baby. Rabadon's death cap. Just feel it. Now there's going to be literally, it won't be a game outright. You have 2 inhibitors unless they can get this fight.
They're going in onto Zhao Yun. He's so beefy, but it doesn't matter. All the damage from Kramer and Eris will secure the second inhibitor. They've gotten Zhao Yun. 3 members remaining for Rogue Warriors, but only 2 Nexus turrets.
Oh my God.
And there goes one more, almost. Not going to be able to get Killua, but they will get the second Nexus turret. And this will be game number 2 going over to LGD.
And that's just oppression. Like, legitimately, welcome to the oppressive session. It was literally a game about Yuki and his lane and how that worked out. Because while it started strong for Condi, he made that one key mistake around top side. He lost his gold went all the way back to us, Xiao Yao. But it was literally just Yuki putting constant pressure on Kongming under lane, gotten an assassination, gotten towered. Team started to rally around that, and it just was just a parade down the mid lane. I thought that was a really well done play from the entirety of LGD to recognize that and just play to it.
And this time, they didn't get caught out. They didn't get capitalized on. They kept the lead, barring that minor dip there at about 12 minutes. And they finally were able to snowball it to a victory for themselves off the back of Yuki.
And that dip was legitimately when Kandi had died. They had mid pressure, and it was Zhang Wuji and Killua able to push down bottom lane without any worries. But suddenly they can't enact that strategy anymore. They couldn't do that if Zoe had that much pressure in lane to be able to take mid lane tower, but also just consistently take down Lissandra off the map. So going into the last game, this is usually when teams look back into their roster and you might see Huatian come back because he is a confident player. Even when he got taken down in the previous games, he is still confident to want to play in the final game. You have to have more pressure on this early game now in the around the mid lane because Yuki is that strong of a player and he is the rookie to look at in the 2018 season. So going into 2019, he started strong.
Yeah, Kongming looking a little bit shaken by that game, especially compared to game one. We saw him make a lot of good engages in game one. Game two, he was so afraid to do anything, even in his own lane. And a lot of that was off the back of Kandi. He was just a menace around the map. And it was good to see that in the early game, that lead that he got, while it did get shut down, that was a big portion of Yuki being able to pop off. Because if you have so much pressure around the map, if you have a jungler who's just absolutely destroying everywhere, your mid lane's fairly safe.
Yep.
Their jungler's busy doing something else. Their jungler's busy running for their life, failing to farm, getting everything stolen away from them. Suddenly you have a safer mid lane. And because Kandi was such a menace, because Kandi was making those plays, Yuki was able to get that scale up and become that obnoxious monster with the paddle stars doing 100% of Zhang Wuji's health by the end of the game.
And all you need is space. Space to push up, space to find proper walls to throw Sleepy Trouble Bubble to. I thought that LGD had played well to give Eris the time to split push and to be able to play through topside as well. So then suddenly there's actually no proper answer. Kongming needs help, and he didn't get it that game, so that just turns into a shutdown.
In this game, we're going to need them to keep it up for LGD, and for Rogue Warriors, they're going to need to come up with some more innovative strategies to put LGD on their back foot. But we'll be back and find out who gets their first series win in the LPL right after this.